Hey everyone, let's talk a little bit about Unit 2, Part 2, Anonymity and Privacy. And we are in a classroom that does not have anonymity. I know all of your names, I know all of your behaviors. I would show you all the things that I'm able to see about your use of D2L, but it would creep you out. So I won't. But instead I'll tell you that we have so many platforms that we're using each day, and so many licensing agreements that we're just scrolling through and clicking accept on, that we are not as entitled to being anonymous online. Instead, what we should think about when it comes to this is what, not are they, because we know they are. We know that there's surveillance. We know that our privacy is being breached right now, probably, as I'm recording this. As I will upload it to YouTube, a lot of my privacy will be breached. The question is not, are they doing all the surveillance work? The question really is, what are they doing with that information? And I think a lot of us were sort of scratching at that idea. That there is this idea that online surveillance, as Campbell and Carlson talked about, it absolutely exists. A lot of people are just apprehensive as to what information is being gathered online and why or how is that information being used to actually sell us products, and does it better us in any way? Because in a lot of these cases we get retargeting ads all the time. Maybe if you're on Facebook and you recently were on Amazon looking for chia seeds or new Nike shoes. I don't know what people look at. Maybe Zappos. Whatever you were looking at last. And you go on Facebook or you go on another website and you don't have ad blocker enabled. You start scrolling through and you go, maybe I do need a new pair of gym shoes. How did they know that? Well, the cookies, the tracking tools, are all built into your browser. So if you're on Internet Explorer or Chrome or Firefox, all of that information is being collected and sent and actually sold to a lot of these companies, because the big data movement is trying to figure out, okay, exactly who are you, what are you doing, what are you looking at, what are you interested in, all these sort of demographic information, because ultimately, how do we get you to buy our product? I know that seems like a very capitalistic approach to a lot of this, but the reality is that a lot of this is contextual, right? Not everyone is having their information collected, although we can look at work computers versus individual computers. But at the same time, we don't always complain about these technologies trying to figure out what it is in the heck that we want or should want, and we get into what I call the Netflix dilemma. Netflix has a series of recommendations based on our viewing habits. I think even when you first sign up for Netflix, I don't remember if this is Netflix or another service. Regardless, they will give you a series of questions like, what kind of movies are you interested in? Are you into action or comedy or gory bloodbath horror movies, whatever it is? And based on that, they will help to try to pair you up with ideas or movies that should align and coalesce with what you're interested in. Now, the issue with Netflix, or at least I found in myself in just conversation with people, personal observations, is that a lot of people are very dissatisfied with what Netflix is recommending for them. Okay, and it's not that Netflix is doing a bad job with the algorithms, but instead, what's happening is that people are no longer afforded the opportunity of legitimate free-willed choice. Okay, I watch Mean Girls, for instance, on Netflix. It will probably give me the next movie that fits with the high school cliques, something with Lindsay Lohan, and something else that has to do with teen heartthrob guy, whatever the situation might be. Okay, so they're collecting all this data on me. They're trying to figure out, okay, this guy likes these shows. Cool. What should we do about it? Well, let's tell him to watch 13 Going on 30. But my fiance watched Mean Girls. I watched Archer. Well, this is weird. But now, okay, so this is sort of like first iteration Netflix, but now we have profiles, right? My profile is uniquely different than my fiance. Maybe if we have a roommate or we have children, whatever it is, we don't. But if we did, and they were on Netflix, one account, saves a lot of money. What we would see happening, basically, is that we start to fragment and really cluster all these ideas together. Okay, so one of the comments that I have that I saw someone alluding to within discussions is that One of the reasons that we share information online is we want to build relationships, we want some degree of rapport. We know that in a lot of these cases what happens is that we want our degrees of privacy. We have privacy settings. We can lock our social media accounts like Instagram and Twitter. We can have privacy settings so that people can't find us on Facebook, right? Yik Yak is completely anonymous. We can say whatever it is that we want and it's geolocated. We've seen a lot of issues come up with cyberbullying. I'll talk about that in the next video. Just in terms of cyberbullying and people misusing the degree of anonymity, what I find to be particularly interesting in all of this is that we are very critical that our information is being taken away from us. We have no control in it. We click the accept. But why? Why is it that we're so upset that people are starting to gather information about us? We look back to the old marketing days, right? We go to like the 40s and 50s, and you would have people outside of department stores with clipboards, okay? And what these individuals would do is they would watch to see who walked in, and they would tally, okay, white male, 25 to 35, okay, middle class, possibly Greek. I don't know. Maybe that's what they're trying to figure out with me. And then they would see if I came out. Okay, no bags. Not a demographic. So we've been doing a lot of this demographic collecting and information collecting for a long time. But when it's online, when it's very immediate, right? So we're on our smartphones, we're on our tablets and our laptops. All of a sudden, that's invasive. But we look at television ratings, like the Nielsen rating system, and all of that is they put little boxes that record what shows you're watching based on the frequency that's being played with the show. And so they figure out, okay, this type of household likes this kind of show. This type of household, let's say, a traditional family, a mother or father, 2 kids, middle class, likes shows like Everybody Loves Raymond. Okay? Well, maybe if that is the primary demographic, we should use that information to help influence or impact what shows we're going to put out next. If we know a show like one of Tyler Perry's 500 shows would not do well with this audience, that's our opportunity to say, okay, it's not going to do well with this audience. Let's target it. Let's see where this fits, okay? So we're using this information for a lot of benefits from an economic perspective, right? There's a lot of capital to be gained there. But at the same time, we just have to be a little bit wary of the way that we're talking about it because there are benefits to this, right? Amazon will tell us, okay, you want to buy this printer? Someone who bought this printer bought this ink and bought this paper. And you're saying, like, those seem like reasonable things that people would buy together. Or other websites will say, okay, 10,000 people viewed this item, and this is because I'm wedding planning and I've been looking at a lot of registries. I think Target is the one that I'm referencing here. When you're online, they'll say, okay, click comforter set. Cool. You scroll down, and at the bottom it says 75% of people who viewed this current page that you're on went and ended up buying this product. And you go, huh, okay, so I started at this point, but I got to here. And they helped me along the way, but I'm overly critical. So my comment with all this is just be a little less sort of cynical about the whole process and be a little bit more inviting to the idea that it's still a growing process. We still need to take these ideas of anonymity and privacy and say, yes, it is our information to collect, but at the same time, there are a lot of vested interests into it. Maybe I shouldn't be as critical about it all.